there. Good morning. How are you? I'm Dr. Melissa Mann, and this is Musings with Melissa. And I moved my day because I kept missing Wednesdays. I had it on Wednesdays, and every Wednesday I would not have time or forget. And I was like, you know what? Obviously this isn't working. So we moved it to Thursday. And today's such a weird Thursday because it's the day before Christmas Eve festivities and all the things. I'm still working, but I'm working from home, but I will tell you that story. And just thought we would have some conversations today about being willing to be more when everything's crazy, when things are holidays or family stuff, or things are just kind of not going your way, and what choices we have available that we may not realize we have. And that's this thing with choice is, a lot of times we say, well, I don't have a choice and I'm stuck and I don't have, any other options, or all of these things, where it's we don't often look for the choices that we have available, that if we would look for them, we would actually find them. Funny how that works. So I made myself coffee. I'm realizing I haven't actually had a sip of it yet, so you're getting me uncoffeed. So give me just a second. Man, this is good coffee. It's like peppermint something. I don't know. It's fantastic. All right, so let's see where I want to start with this. I was looking at all of the places where, and times where I've gone into this, especially since starting Access Consciousness, let me back that up, is that I really don't do trauma and drama. It's just not something that's really in my life. It's not something that's in my world. I long ago let go of all the people in my life that created trauma and drama. It's just not my reality, and I'm so grateful for that. And as a psychologist, I do deal quite a bit with other people's trauma and drama, but it's not mine, and it's not my reality. And thank God for the tools of Access Consciousness, because I've been in Access about 3 years, whatever in Access means. I've been using the tools of Access Consciousness for about 3 years, and in that time, really have realized how much the who does this belong to tool is valuable, especially if you work with people at all, first of all. So it doesn't mean you have to be a psychologist or therapist or whatever. It's pretty much anytime you're dealing with people, you pick up on their stuff all the time. And so I'm aware of that with the trauma and drama stuff of okay, that's not mine, that's theirs, it's fine, return to sender, and that's pretty good. But once in a while, the trauma and drama and upset and intrigue will sneak its little way into my life, and it's rare. It really is. And it's been about twice, I'd say, in the last 6 months, where there's something that has popped up where it's just been this thing, and it's been really super loud and not fun at all. And the first time I became really aware of this was in the summer. There was a thing with a family. I won't obviously get into the whole story, but a thing popped up, and I got so mad. And what I was really mad about wasn't the thing. I mean, that was part of it, but it was that this is not my reality. I said to my husband, I was like, this is not my reality. I don't do trauma and drama. I don't do arguing and fighting and passive aggressive comments and all the things that were going on. I was like, this isn't mine. This is not my reality. I have not chosen this for a very long time. So what is this that's showing up now? And I looked at what I could do with it then, and it popped up again this week. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, because it's the holidays and all of the things that are just bring things up. And this week, totally different situation. This was within my little world. So, how do I even get into that? So we found out on Monday that my husband tested positive for COVID. Yep, everything that brings up, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And that created so much upset and intrigue, and it had nothing to do with the COVID itself. I'm so over COVID. I have no real points of view about it at this point, but it was all the things that brought up of we had to all get tested. We had to figure out how to get tested. Nobody would give us a rapid test. I had to figure out if, can the kids go to school? Can I go to work? Can I, what is required? What am I supposed to do? And it was so this reality. And I was like, what is this shit? Again, this is not my reality. And I got so upset, and I was so like, I was yelling at the kids, and like, it was just not me, not my reality, not how I'd like to live my life. And I was like, all right, like, I have tools for this. Like, what is required here? And my husband's fine, by the way. Like, he's just, it's like he has like a, mild flu. I wouldn't even say that. It's more like a sinus infection. But he's sequestered to the basement. And I'll tell you more about that. But and none of us tested positive. So it's like we're sort of like living in this crazy life of like wanting to hang out with him. So everybody has masks on. And like the whole thing is like quite humorous at this point. So, but on Monday it was not humorous. On Monday it was serious, and it was a big deal, and it was trauma and drama and oh my God, and all the things. And so I was like, man, like, okay, this is not my reality. I'm not choosing this. And I was so aware instantly of how much I was aware of the entire world's insanity with this COVID stuff. And hey, Tracy. And I was aware of like just every other family who's been through this, every other like group of people who've had this go on in their world, and all the crazy around COVID. And it was like I was holding on to all of that somehow in my body. And I called a friend that night, and I just broke down, and I was just a freaking mess. And I tell you that all because, first of all, like, we can have all the tools in the world, and sometimes you just have to cry. And like, okay, like, I just have to get this out. And I was also so aware that it wasn't mine. And so that, like, okay, if I know not this, what else is possible? And let's return all of that back out to sender. And what can I be with this that would be different? And that's why I titled this Be More. And so what I got is that I was trying to like do all the things. I was trying to solve the problem and make the appointments and get me and the kids into all of these like testing and blah, blah, blah. But it was like this like rat race. It was like running a hamster on a wheel, and the intensity of it all. And I was like, man, if I would just be with this, what could I be with it? And how could I melt this in a totally different way than I was willing to see or looking at, or where I went into like everybody else's world of like this reality. And so I was looking at sort of like, okay, it's also the holidays. That kind of means it fucks up our Christmas. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things with this, right? But also like how does this like relate to what everybody on the planet is going through right now, whether somebody in their family tested positive for COVID or something else? Like all of the places and spaces that we sort of get into this holiday thing where we go like, like I need to like do all the gift wrapping, and I need to get here, and we have to make this food for this thing, and we got to make the cookies, and we got to, and the gotta's thing, and all of the like family stuff that comes up around Christmas and holiday stuff, and being like with your parents maybe, or with your siblings, or with your in-laws, or with like the people that kind of bring out things that aren't actually your reality. And for most of us, we like, that's not really our day-to-day life, right? Like we're not choosing that all the time. And then it's like we get around these people and they just bring things up. Tracy said, well, I messed up and bought the tiniest turkey joint. That's amazing. And I'm laughing because this is like such like one of the tools I wanted to offer you, because it's going to keep coming up, is this like, where is this hilarious that I'm not laughing at? And so like, all the things that we make into such a big deal, if we were willing to actually see where it's funny. And like, I mean, you guys should see my freaking house. It's so hilarious right now. Like my husband is sitting on one corner of the couch with a mask on. My kids got delivered today, and I've also decided not to do presents because I'm not there yet. Awesome. Fantastic. And that, Tracy, like is, well, first of all, I finished my thought because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like swirling all over the place. But the hilarity in it, right, is like my husband's sitting on the corner of the couch with his mask on. The kids are spread out probably 12 feet from him in all directions with a mask on. And they're all playing their video game together, but like one kid has his Switch, the other, kid has it on like a little screen. My husband's on a big screen, and they're all playing this thing together, and it's really funny. And if you walk down there, everybody's got their mask on. I mean, the whole thing's just hilarious. And so even like, okay, buying the wrong turkey, getting the wrong thing, like doing it wrong, and if it wasn't like this, like dramatic thing. Like, where could you see the humor in it and just be like, fuck it, you know, it's fine. Gosh, let me shut off my notifications. And that, and like being a perfectionist, wanting things to go right during the holidays, wanting it to like get it right, be right, show up with the perfect gift or the perfect turkey or the perfect whatever. And if we would be willing to let go of all of that and be like, yeah, so I did the wrong thing. Let me tell you how hilarious this is, rather than let me tell you how wrong I am. Wow, yeah, everything that is. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And choosing to do what actually works for you. I love that Tracy said, you know, I'm decided I'm not doing presents because that's not going to work for her. Like, what if you actually had your reality with the holidays? What if you had your reality in everything? When the trauma and drama comes up, what if you could just be more? Be more of you. Be more. And you know, I've been talking about this a lot. Actually, I've been doing a lot of SOP. That's just what's been showing up in my world, which has been really freaking fun. I love SOP sessions. Little side note, it's 50% off till the end of the year if you didn't hear that, for individual SOP sessions with me. So ping me if you'd like one. And I've just been doing a lot of SOP. And one of the things that always comes up is Dane says, when you're doing an SOP session, when you get to something like a wall, or like there's an energy that like doesn't want to move, just be and be and be. And don't go into like the how can I change this and I can't change this and what do I do? Like, just be with it and melt it in that way. And often that energy, when you're willing to just be like, hi, and just be with it, it starts to melt because you're just being. And please acknowledge how much you being, choosing to be, and not the do, and not the like gotta thing, and like gotta get to this and gotta do this and gotta wrap the presents. And when you just expand and be, it melts so much of that energy. And that kind of comes to like that, where can you be interesting point of view with family, with holiday, with anywhere you're like, oh my God, this is not my reality. And just be in total allowance and be interesting point of view with it, and not have to solve it, and not have to make it right or make it better or come to conclusion or go into judgment. Instead, just be, and be allowance. And the other thing is just to expand out. So there's a couple different like scenarios here, and I'm giving you this because I'm aware that like Christmas Eve is tomorrow, and some people do holiday stuff today, some people do holiday stuff tomorrow, and it kind of goes on for the next week or so into New Year's. And sometimes there's alcohol involved or other things, and then like all the things get heightened and people get in fights, or things, just stuff comes up. Being around family like brings stuff up, and the holiday stuff, my God, I haven't wrapped at all. And I have like a day, and it's really challenging to do that away from the kids when everybody's home and nobody can leave the freaking house. So interesting, right? And like, where can we just be like, okay, like let's just be with this and expand and expand and expand. And if you've never done that before, and you're like, what does she mean expand out? So there's lots of ways to do this, but one of the ways that I do is I just get with like the energy of me, and I don't have wrapping paper. That's amazing. And expand to the size of the room. So like your being, like just become aware of everything in your room, and then become aware of everything in the building that you're in, and then become aware of the whole town that you're in, and expand beyond that. Maybe it's to, you know, the way you're, in the US we have states, but wherever you are, like to the sort of county, the next thing out, and then the whole country. And you can expand to the world, beyond the earth, and beyond. And when you get good at this, you do it all the time, you can just kind of say, okay, expand out. And it just kind of goes, and you don't have to like do it in this slow way. And if you want to, sometimes that still creates. And ask the question, okay, if I was having my reality with this, what could I choose? So yesterday, I was like, all right, I'm so aware that I really, for me, my thing is being in the woods. and it's really being in the mountains and the woods, but I don't have mountains. So for right now, it's in the woods. And so I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I'm taking an hour and I'm driving to the nearest forest preserve and I'm going to walk in the woods. And it's cold here right now. It's like 20 Fahrenheit. And don't ask me what that is in Celsius. I'm sorry, stupid American. And I went out and it took me, I think I put this in the email out today, like it took me 20 minutes before the mind stopped running and I stopped, because I was like thinking about this thing and, you know, what do I want to say here? And I should take a picture. And I did take a few pictures that I didn't post. Maybe I will. And it took me to like, I heard a woodpecker. And I don't know if you guys know that sound, but I sort of love the sound of the woodpecker against the trees. And it was quiet otherwise. I mean, there's no one there. Because who the heck else is hiking in the woods in 20 degrees, right? And that sound just brought me so much like to the earth. And I was like, yes, thank you. Thank you, woodpecker. Thank you for creating this like beautiful noise. And then I just felt my whole body just like relax. And I was like, man, that took me a long time. And I looked at my watch and I was like, 20 minutes I've been out here. And it was like 20 minutes it took me to like actually be, and I hiked for another 20-25 minutes before I came back. But it was like that, to turn it into like, okay, what is actually required here for me to have all of me? And in so many situations it's like, okay, well, I can't like just go for a walk in the woods in the middle of a family party when it's just all too much. But you can expand out and you can be like, all right, what can I be here? What allowance can I be? And if this wasn't, if I wasn't making this a problem, where is this hilarious that I'm not laughing? And start to ask questions. Take a break. Go to the bathroom. You can always go to the bathroom. And take 5 minutes to be like, all right, like, what would I actually like to choose with this? Where can I be with this energy? Where can I just expand out? Be interesting point of view. And one of my other favorite questions is everywhere that I wrote it down because I know it's going to screw this up. Everywhere my awareness has exceeded my allowance. Destroyed and creative. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And that's on my husband's phone as his like phone background, because he uses it so much, which is fantastic. I made that for him a long time ago, and that continues to be his phone background. I would recommend that maybe during the holidays, because guys, please get that we're so aware. And if you have all sorts of family stuff going on and people around you, you are aware of every single one of their worlds, only it's all combined. And so wherever you go into this, like, you're aware of everybody's universe. This is like what I was talking about on Monday with the COVID stuff. It's like I went into everybody's universe with this, and it was like this like tsunami of energy of like all the crazy COVID stuff. And I was like, you know, and so, but I was aware, you know, after an hour or so of the freak out, that like, okay, like, this isn't mine. I'm just aware of the entire world's like freak out with this thing right now. So if I wasn't doing that, what else is actually possible? And so when you're aware, like when you're with your family or when you're with a group of people, or if you go out to the mall or something right now, oh my God, like, you're picking up on everybody's money stuff, everybody's holiday stuff, everybody's family stuff, everybody's judgment of themselves, judgment of everybody else. And so you have to ask for more allowance to match all of the awareness that you're having and greater. So that's where you can be interesting point of view and be like, okay, everywhere that my awareness has exceeded my allowance, destroyed and created. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and expand. And if you can, and I get that this isn't always possible, but have your bars run. And I'm so aware that I need my bars run, and I was supposed to have my bars run actually the day that that we found out about the COVID stuff, so I didn't. And I have 3 people in my house that can run bars for me, although my husband maybe isn't the best choice, but my kids can too. And so I think today, after my walk in the woods yesterday, and I might choose that again today, but also, like, I'm going to get my bars run today. Absolutely. Tracy said, I think I prefer to do Christmas after Christmas. Yeah, you know, geez, if that was possible, because then a little bit of the, like, crazy is, down a little bit more. So I think that's most of this today. I do have a client in a couple minutes, but truly be willing to be you, be willing to be space. And guys, when you're with family, there's sort of this misconception, and I've had this conversation. I work with a lot of LGBTQ clients, and I work with a lot of people who are like, I just need to be me. And yes, you 1000% do. And like arguing with family members over politics because you're being you is not a contribution. Arguing with family about like who's right and who's wrong and who's, you think this and they think this and, let's argue about religion. Let's argue about like, please don't choose that. Like, I mean, I get the whole like, I want to be me. But like, what if being you was something that you got to be? Not something that you had to prove, not something that you had to argue about, not something that you had to go in and be right about. What if you were willing to just go in and by your very being, by you being the energy of interesting point of view, by you being the energy of allowance, that you created something different and you created a different energy in the room rather than wanting to fight or have the proving energy. Thank you, Tracy. Like where you have to like prove anything to anybody. What if you got to go into any kind of family thing and have your reality and you didn't have to prove it and you didn't have to argue about it, you didn't have to be right? What if you got to just be free and let them say whatever they're going to say and you have this amazing tool of interesting point of view in your head and don't say it out loud. Interesting point of view, they have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view, that they have this point of view. And if it boils your blood, something that somebody says, and people say assholeish things, take a deep breath, say, hey, I think I'm going to go get, some coffee, I'm going to go get whatever, give yourself an out, hey, I really got to pee, I'll be right back, and get out of the situation, go to the bathroom, go wherever, go get some coffee, go get some, a glass of wine, whatever's like fun for you. And be like, cool. And then you come back and don't even go back into that conversation. Go back and talk to somebody else. Go back to, you're right, I'm wrong. Yeah, absolutely. If that's what's required. And if you can just, and Tracy's referring to the tool where you're just like, you're right, I'm wrong. And you just let it go. But you have to be so careful with that tool that you don't turn it into like a sarcastic, like, well, you're right, I'm wrong. Like you're going to be real genuine with it if you're going to use it. But like, yeah, okay. That's cool. But just get out of the situation and take some deep breaths, expand out, pot and pock, whatever energy's coming up. And if you're like, what was that thing Melissa said, blah, 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 just don't worry about it. Just say everything this is, all of this energy that's coming up, right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And if you're, I talk to a lot of new clients who are still memorizing the clearing statement, you could just say pot and pock, or that weird thing Melissa said. It still works, and it still creates, and it still expands. And give yourself the space. And if you need to take a walk, tell people you're really full, you need to walk off your food. Like, whatever. Like, say whatever is required in the moment to then go and have your reality. And if it's like, all right, I gotta sit here, we're at dinner, I can't really get up and excuse myself. I mean, you can, but like, cool. Expand, pot and pock in your head, run the clearing statement. I mean, I've had days where I just run the clearing statement over and over and over and over and over and over and over in my head because that is the only way I'm going to get through this 5 minutes. Cool. Do whatever is required, but be willing to have your reality and not go into everybody else's reality. And when you catch yourself doing it, because we do, it's so easy to slip back into. Play with the dog, the kids, yes, absolutely, anything. Anywhere you can find humor and fun and play and be willing to have that. And then breathe. And you may just take a couple seconds and nobody knows what you're doing. Put your hands on your lap, just, put your hand on your belly, especially if you're at a table or whatever. Nobody sees you. And just take a few really slow, deep breaths, expand. And know that when you get home, you can take a bath, you can go for a walk, you can do whatever else is required. But to be willing to have you and be willing to be more. And that is really what this is about. Is like all of these things are really about being you, being more, without having to prove it or be right to anybody else. And to have your reality no matter what it takes and makes a demand of you that as you go into any holiday stuff or just anything in general, I'm talking about the holidays because tomorrow, but you could use this anytime. Just anytime. Things are just crazy. And you're like, no, that's not my reality. And what can I choose now to have my reality with me? So I gotta go, guys. So you have an amazing day. This is the longest live I've done in a long time. And that's fun. So I'm gonna start doing these on Thursday mornings. I think there's one Thursday in like 2 or 3 weeks that I have like a training on a Thursday, so I will have to move it. But next week we'll still be at this time, and I will let you know ahead of time. Today I actually sent out an email. I'm like on top of my shit. So that's fun. And I'm gonna try to do that regularly to remind you that I'm coming on. And you know, in all of this and committing to my life, I'd like to make way more a point of doing musings with Melissa actually weekly, and just see what it creates. So I think Tracy posted a few things coming up. We have an SOP with this, what do we call it? Morning snow. It's like something snow. Tomorrow morning, it's funny because I don't actually have snow in Chicago, but I still have the energy of that even yesterday out in the woods. So that's a SOP first thing tomorrow morning. If you'd like that before you start your holiday, I'd love you to join me. And then we start a How to Become Money workbook next Friday, and that's New Year's Eve morning. And that's a 10-week series. And then on January 2nd, we have a 1-day business and money, which is like my favorite. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's like, it's like a 60-page manual or something crazy. It's amazing. And it's like so many amazing business and money tools and just like ways to totally change your life. So I thought that would be such a fun thing to start 2022 with. So I will talk to you all soon. Have an amazing holiday if I don't see you tomorrow morning for SOP. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.